Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels. And you know, it's interesting how fast things can change just like that. Last night on a phone consultation I had, a gentleman was asking me, and he was concerned about him and his wife and their son moving down to Mexico. How safe was it? What could they expect? And that. And I was telling him, you know, how safe it is that when you get away from the border towns, that it doesn't seem to be as the problems like you get around the border towns. I've made other informational videos like this to tell you what is going on, sort of give you an update on what's happening down below the borders. We're about 1,500 miles below, you know, let's say the border towns in Texas and in that area. And so typically our experience is that there isn't a problem down here. And we've never experienced a problem. We've been here 15 years. But every once in a while, you'll hear a story and how tragedy happens and that. Well, that just came to my awareness today. I was out and about just doing some chores and doing a little walking around, and I actually had a dentist appointment. And I went into a store and I looked at the newspaper, the Guadalajara Reporter, and they were saying there that 5 students were killed in Jalisco, Mexico. Well, Jalisco is the state that we live in. And so I was curious about that. So I bought the newspaper and I did some investigation on that to find out where the town was at. I didn't know where it was at. And so I did a Google search to find out where the town was at. And that way I wanted to know how close it was, you know, to where we are at. As we start here at the top of the screen, this is the area that the murders were. And the driving time from where we are is about 3.5 to 4 hours from Chapala. And so you can see the distance. It's not real far away, but it's not real close either. The 5 boys that were killed, they were from the age of 19 to 22. They were friends, and they were from the same town.
5 Mexican childhood friends aged 19-22 vanished on the night of August 11th in Lagos de Moreno, Jalisco. After telling their families they were returning home, video soon circulated on social media of the 5 on their knees, having been kidnapped.
The 5 friends were ages anywhere between 19 and 22. They were friends. They were from a small village in Jalisco, and they were offered a job offer, and they went to investigate that, and unfortunately they were kidnapped. And who really knows the reason why it was? Could it be a situation where there was drugs entailed and stuff like that? It doesn't report that it was that, and it more reported that it was being lured in to a job offer, and then they were kidnapped. And unfortunately, all 5 of the young boys who were childhood friends were killed. And there was a video made of that, and it went out on the social media pages in Mexico. I couldn't find that video, and I probably didn't want to show it to you anyways. It may have been pretty gruesome. Their bodies were found in an abandoned lot, and also one body was found in a car that was burnt out, and so police are investigating it to find out more about it. The families had called the police when the boys did not come home, and so that's when the investigation started. And so there's quite a bit of questions to be answered around this murder. It's typically, like I said earlier, it's typically not something we see here, and it's not something that happens here. So it's more closer to the border towns and into the interior part of Mexico. It's actually closer to San Miguel Allende and Leon. So that was sort of the location. Lori and I haven't digested it yet. We haven't talked about it and to find out, how that really affects us and what we think about it. It's a tragedy, and we feel sad for the families, definitely, an outcrying of, sympathy to them for a brutal, brutal, brutal massacre of 5 young, men, childhood friends that have been cut down and just killed in an abandoned lot. And it's so sad. And so sometimes when you hear about stuff like this, you think of Middle East stuff, stuff that happens in, the Middle East, where the killings and stuff. So it can be very, scary when you hear stuff like this. And that's why I wanted to report it to you. We're not going to freak out about it. We're going to sort of accept it that maybe their situation, because we don't really know their situation, what they were doing, the reason they were, killed and kidnapped. We don't really know the reason. You never, know it. And so we don't want to overreact to something like that because, we do live here. And overall, we love Mexico. We love the people. And overall, the Mexican people are gentle and generous and loving and caring and supportive. And that's the majority. Unfortunately, it's just like any war situation that we've seen in the Middle East, where there's certain factions that are really, really, really bad people. And so you have that everywhere. You have that in the United States, all the massive killings that are going on there. How sad that is. Families losing children, shootings in schools and churches and everything. And so when you hear something like this, which is 135, 140 miles away, it still seems too close, definitely. But it's not in the neighborhood, and it's not here in the Lake Chapala area. So we're very grateful about that. But I thought I'd just give you this update and tell you what's going on, and that these things do happen. And it's always wise, in traveling anywhere in a foreign country, especially if it's somewhat of a emerging country like Mexico is, that check in with the American Embassy to make sure that there are not any travel warnings. And if there are travel warnings in that specific area, like what I'm talking about here, we wouldn't go there, at least not now for a while, because, it's hard to tell, how safe it is. You do know that there are some severe crimes that are going on in that area. So it'd be better just to not go there, and we wouldn't do that. So, but I thought I'd just give you this little update. Sorry to bring the bad news, but I'm just a messenger. Don't shoot me. Just a messenger trying to give an update on what's happening here. If you have questions concerning about moving down here into Mexico, maybe your questions are, should I buy a home with the inflation rate going at the peso being 17 pesos to 1? Is it wise now to buy a home, or should I wait till the market recovers? Or how about the lake? I'm hearing the lake is polluted. Is that true, Jerry? Maybe you're going to ask a question that you want to bring your children down here. And are there English-speaking schools, bilingual schools? Those are questions I can answer in a 50-minute phone consultation. At the end of the video, see this box that pops up? Just click on it, and you can book a phone consultation with me. There is a fee for that. Also, another service that I offer is that if you want to come down and you plan on coming down and you would like to me to provide you with a relocation service where I will pick you up in my car, take you for one full day around the area, showing you the different hospitals, the different medical care here, the housing areas where the lake is polluted or not polluted. We'll go over a lot of different things, and that's a good value, because if you plan on living out here, I can save you a lot of money in that. So you can also book that on that last booking that pops up, and just book an appointment with me, and we can do a relocation service down here. And or you can email me at jerrybrowntravels@gmail.com, and I'll get back with you on what service I have and what I charge for that.